Jack?
To give a counterpoint to both of those, you're absolutely right. I've seen a lot of people, I read some emergent authors, and some of that, even the emergent authors that are wanting to go deeper, they are looking at the ancient paths and saying there's something deeper here that we want to tap into. A different way of seeing things like the crucifixion, different ways of reading the Old Testament scriptures and seeing it from a evolutionary perspective of humanity and how they understood God and things, and how that grew throughout the readings and their understandings of God. They're looking at it from a different way, but they too push back against the idea that this is the new thing and it's all the hoopla and all the fluff and all that. And the good writers that I've read are saying, if you're doing that, you're missing the boat. We're talking about something much, much deeper. And so you're right on that, but there are some groups that are looking for something more substantial than that.
I'm sure there are. I think in all of these movements that's been the case. I'm just doubtful of the claims that are made about these things. If you look at the trends, it doesn't say much, but church attendance, for instance, church attendance is, and in Europe it started in 1908 and it's just continued, so there's only 3% of people in most European countries are church attenders. Those trends started later in the USA, but they're continuing here in the USA. And so there's an increased urgency to find the new thing that will change everything. And I don't share that kind of optimism. I've read too much McIntyre and I think we're in the dark ages, apart from iPads. But,
But am I correct in drawing a correlation between this emerging church movement and this expectation of things to change with eschatological theology? Tying it together with these expectations of second coming and
I don't think directly, Scott, but I think that's an underlying theme for Christians generally, right? That there is the idea that there is a new day dawning and it will come at some point. And so even those that are not predicting raptures and nonsense like that, there is still this thought that time is linear and at some point it ends because the kingdom is coming, that kind of language. And I think people are generally, we do have this innate sense of wanting to hope that this might be the thing that's going to bring change. I mean, if you think about the last presidential election, President Obama was the Messiah, right? It was like his theme was yes we can, yes we can, yes we can, and people who were had been generally skeptical about change, they buy into it because there's this, well, we can change things, we can make the world better, and maybe we can a little bit, but trouble is you get me onto skeptical things, because when President Obama was going, yes we can, I'm going, no we can't, because I didn't think we could, at least not in that kind of messianic way.
Yeah, it's just very confusing.
Andy, are you familiar with Frankie Schaefer?
Yes.
He wrote a book maybe 2-3 years ago, I can't think of the name of it, where he apologized for his work in hooking a political party onto the evangelical strain of Christianity, and said he created a monster. And then there, can't think of the guy's name, he wrote Republican Gomorrah, you know, which it was like held hostage, you know, in like both the Republican Party and the evangelical Christianity were dragged down by the connection, and how it kind of pulled away from some of the pure spiritual strains that were in evangelical Christianity. And when I had been an evangelical Christian, and when I read that, I said, that's what happened. That's what sunk the ship. And we're, you know, I see this thing about pulling ahead and, you know, the next best new thing. When we got to repair the old, we got to get back in there and clean the house somehow. If you can even get agreement on that.
Yes, yeah. Well, I wasn't aware of that book. I don't want us to kind of turn this into a political thing.
No, I don't either. I just was.
I just kind of, I'm skeptical of linking politics with faith, and I think it usually ends up a bad thing when you link politics and faith. I don't want to do it.
It's like pulling Constantine in the 3rd century or whenever that happened. You know, there were the desert fathers and mothers, and then you put the empirical or empire Christianity together.
Yeah, it's true. Now, having said that, our version of new monasticism is going to save the world.
Or something better.
And the church.
Of course. We wouldn't be here.
Well, yeah.
We're so large and influential.
We are, aren't we?
Yeah, we are large and